more gunfire, and more people were screaming and running in different directions.
Coming up, dozens dead in France after an apparent terror attack on a very important day for that nation. We have the latest on this tragic situation.
Governor Pence did do some important work with the administration to expand Medicaid in his state. That's something that President Obama has been encouraging Democratic and Republican governors across the country to do.
Also, it seems the time has come. Donald Trump has picked his new running mate. We'll tell you who and what lies ahead in campaign 2016. Plus, we have some tips for parents to keep their kids safe from the dangers of having a pool and the risks of drowning. 13 on Your Side, live at 10 starts right now.
Live from across the desert Southwest with your latest local coverage. This is 13 on Your Side, live at 10.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Nylander. We have breaking news this hour. More than 1,000 homes in Yuma were without power tonight, and a heavy police presence and fire department in the area. We're just getting new information about the cause. 13 on Your Side reporter Chase Golightly is live right now in the area and spoke to residents there and first responders. Chase, what can you tell us at this hour?
Of course, I'm live at 23rd Street and Madison Avenue, where over 1,200 homes were affected by a power outage here in Yuma. I'm standing with Battalion Chief Jeff Zahn, who's going to speak to us about what exactly, happened. How did the power outage happen?
There was some neighborhood children, and they strapped a very tall metal pole to the fence over here on the church side, and they were swinging the pole back and forth, and when they did, that pole made contact with a 7,000 volt line. And when that made contact, fortunately the kids were not touching the pole at the time, so nobody was injured, but it did manage to throw a breaker at the APS substation, and that's what caused the power outage for the 1,200 homes.
But all the 1,200 homes are now back to power. Everything's getting fixed up and there were no injuries, correct?
That's correct. There were no injuries related to the incident. I just talked with APS and they confirmed that all the power is back on in the area and there are no further hazards in the area, so everyone can return to their home and get their ACs powered back up.
Gotcha. And then also when we were speaking to residents, they said that they heard a loud booming sound. Could that have been from the power, from the pole touching the power line?
I'm sure that when that pole touched the 7,000 volt line, there was a very large boom, and we're just very thankful that nobody was hurt when that pole touched that line.
Gotcha. Well, Jeff, thank you so much. Right. Really appreciate it. Sure. That's all the information we have for right now. We'll be sure to keep you updated as other information possibly becomes available. Reporting live in Yuma for 13 on Your Side, I'm Chase Golightly. Back to you, of course.
Thank you for those details, Chase. If there is any new updates in this story, we'll make sure to post that on our website, kswt.com, and you can go to our Facebook page at 13 on Your Side. We'll post the latest updates, anything we receive. It will be there for you. And we're following a very tragic situation out of France tonight. A apparent terror attack in France. At least 80 people, including children, are dead and many more injured after an attack during a Bastille Day celebration. Mark Albert has the latest tonight.
Chaos and terror in the streets of Nice. Police chased a white truck after it plowed into a crowd celebrating Bastille Day. You can hear police firing their guns, trying to stop it. The regional government says the truck was loaded with guns and grenades, and that the driver opened fire into the crowd Thursday night, leaving dozens of bodies strewn along the roadway. Hundreds of people ran, screaming in horror and racing for safety after the truck drove through crowds for more than a mile before police shot the driver dead. In the aftermath, personnel in camouflage carrying rifles stood guard around the sprawling crime scene as Paris anti-terror police investigate.
When the screaming and the crowds running happened, I was surprised. But even before we came here, I was figuring, look, we're going to be here during Bastille Day, and if I were a bad guy, that's the day I would pick to do something.
French President François Hollande returned to Paris from a trip to the south of France following the attack and immediately met with his crisis team. President Obama condemned what he described as an apparent terror attack. U.S. intelligence officials tell CBS News the incident appears to be deliberate, but say it's too early to tell who's involved. Mark Albert, CBS News.
Donald Trump tweeted he's delaying his planned announcement Friday of his vice president pick in light of that attack. And Donald Trump has selected Indiana Governor Mike Pence as his running mate, according to a GOP source. The decision comes as the Republicans gear up for their convention next week in Cleveland. CBS News correspondent Wei Zhejiang is there with the latest.
Indiana Governor Mike Pence flew to New Jersey late Thursday afternoon. Sources say he's meeting with Donald Trump about a strategy for the campaign. A GOP source tells CBS News that Pence will be Trump's running mate. But in a phone interview on Fox News, Trump said not so fast.
I haven't made a final decision.
Trump was scheduled to reveal his choice Friday, but tweeted that he is postponing his official announcement in light of the attack in Nice, France. A new CBS News New York Times poll shows 86% of those surveyed say they don't know enough about Pence to form an opinion, but many delegates approve of the choice.
He's been a great governor, so I can just be excited about it. I think he'll unite the party even more.
Here in Cleveland, the GOP Rules Committee for the convention heard from dissidents determined to derail Trump's expected first ballot nomination. But the Stop Trump forces did not have enough votes to prevail.
14 million people came and they voted for him. So why cannot we as a body come together?
Trump's former rivals, Ted Cruz and Ben Carson, are scheduled to speak at the convention. Trump is tied with Hillary Clinton in the CBS poll. He has a 12-point lead among independents, but most voters find both candidates untrustworthy. Clinton more so than Trump. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, Cleveland.
Those who will not attend the convention include former nominees John McCain and Mitt Romney and former Presidents George Bush and his son George W. Bush. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey is showing his support for U.S. Senator John McCain. The governor announced his official endorsement for McCain today in his re-election campaign to the Senate for a sixth term. Ducey says McCain is a great leader with the experience needed to keep Arizonans safe. McCain responded to the endorsement with praise of the governor, saying Governor Ducey is dedicated to Arizona and a great leader to help with the state's economy. McCain has already received the endorsement of past governors Jan Brewer and several others. McCain is in a tight race with Ann Kirkpatrick. The Imperial County Sheriff's Office has arrested a woman for grand theft. ICSO accuses Leah Puyat of stealing more than $11,000 worth out of a GoFundMe account set up for a 3-year-old who was battling cancer. A concerned parent reported that alleged action to ICSO back in January. The child sadly lost their battle to cancer. The funds were to pay for medical bills. Puyat was taken into custody today and charged with grand theft. Her bail is set at $5,000. Fresno police have released body camera footage of an officer-involved shooting that happened last month. 19-year-old Dylan Noble was shot and killed by police. Until now, only an incomplete video of that incident was available to the public. Fresno Police Chief Jerry Dyer says he waited to release the video not until after the family had a chance to view it. The family is currently planning to sue the city for Noble's death. Officers say Noble repeatedly ignored commands and made threatening gestures towards them. Investigations are ongoing to see if the officers broke any laws.
I know that in cases like this, no matter what the decision is, there will be people that question it, people that will not support it. And I always know that in decisions that are this critical, you're not going to have everybody that supports it. Not the officers, not the union, perhaps not the family, and maybe not even the community.
Chief Dyer has also asked the FBI to conduct their own independent investigation into that case. More than 1,500 mourners attended funeral services for Philando Castile today, one of 2 black men shot and killed by police last week. Marley Hall reports from the century-old Cathedral of St. Paul in Minnesota tonight.
A horse-drawn carriage brought Philando Castile's coffin to the Cathedral of St. Paul, while a long line of family members and friends followed behind. Pallbearers carried the coffin into the church as loved ones hugged and cried. The 32-year-old school cafeteria supervisor was shot and killed by a police officer last week during a traffic stop near St. Paul. Castile's girlfriend live-streamed the aftermath of the shooting on Facebook Live.
Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
The funeral was open to the public. Many who came knew Castile personally. Others just wanted to show their support. Vanessa Smith worked with Castile.
He was a good guy. He really was. And there was nothing in the world I wouldn't do or give to give him back.
Ann Cross came with her son, Robert.
We just wanted to be part of the community and show our respect and share the sadness.
Castile had a gun license. His girlfriend says he was shot while reaching for his ID. According to an Associated Press analysis, just 7% of residents in the area where the shooting happened are black. But nearly half of those arrested in the first half of this year were black. Pallbearers raised their fists in the air as they brought the coffin out of the cathedral. Marley Hall, CBS News, St. Paul, Minnesota.
The school where Castile worked prepared a reception following the funeral with hot dogs and hamburgers for about 2,000 people. During the tense situation of a serial killer in Phoenix that has already murdered at least 7 people, the city of Phoenix now formally introduced its new police chief to the public today. Jerry Williams, who's currently chief of police in Oxnard, California, will be Phoenix's first female police chief when she starts in October. She addressed the serial shooter or shooters who police say killed 7 people in 8 shootings over the last few months.
When things like this happen, we can't be the eyes and ears all the time. So we need the community to step up. And to the suspect, we will find you.
Before becoming Oxnard's police chief, she rose up through the ranks in Phoenix. She retired from the Phoenix Police Department as the assistant chief of its Southern Division. In that position, she was responsible for 1,000 sworn and civilian workers and more than half of the city's 500-plus square miles. Following the toddler drowning yesterday in Yuma, fire officials want to warn parents to keep an eye out on their kids around the pool. Every year in Arizona, the equivalent of a classroom full of children drown, and kids 4 years and younger are most at risk. Fire officials say the 3 things parents need to do is supervise, have a fence around your pool, and to take safety classes like CPR. We spoke to some parents at Marcus Swimming Pool in Yuma and asked how they implement pool safety policies there.
We are with her in the pool all the time, and she's pretty confident, maybe a little too confident. But with that, we also have a gate around our pool, and just don't ever let our kids go in the pool without us.
There are CPR and other pool safety classes the city holds. For more information, you can go to our website at kswt.com. Coming up, just as the Pulse nightclub is returned to its owners, another tragedy occurs there. When we come back, we'll tell you what happened that has police starting yet another investigation. 13 on your side. We'll be back in just a moment.
Live from across the desert Southwest, this is 13 on your side.
Welcome back. 2 men apparently fell off a California cliff while playing the phone-based app game Pokemon Go. Police near San Diego say the men got distracted and didn't notice a 75-foot drop near a beach. Rescue crews used a rope to reach one of the men. Neither were seriously hurt. Pokemon Go has fast become a national obsession now, with more than 10 million downloads in just the past week. Orlando police say there was yet a break-in at the Pulse nightclub last night. Police called it a commercial burglary, possibly by one person. The break-in happened just hours after authorities turned the building back over to its owners. No word on what, if anything, was taken. 49 people were killed at Pulse last month when a gunman opened fire inside the club. More than 50 others were hurt. A new neurological center in Yuma will be the first of its kind in the United States. The center, that will be known as the Veteran Neurological Research Center, will be the home to more than 300 patients suffering from Alzheimer's, post-traumatic stress, and for victims of sexual trauma. The center will conduct studies to potentially find a cure to the Alzheimer's disease. The inside of the building will be a controlled environment, much like that of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. It will have stores and apartments inside. Yuma doctors think it will benefit the community.
It's an excellent outlet to provide services to people in the community who have Alzheimer's disease, not only for early detection of the disease, but also to start early treatment and really give people the opportunity to have an individualized plan of care.
The research facility will be located at the old Kmart building, and construction is set to begin January 2017. Today, the Imperial Valley Cancer Resource Center of the Desert celebrates 10 years of helping families fight cancer. The center helps families find options to cover cancer treatment costs, all free of charge. Some costs include traveling to treatment appointments, food, lodging, and even special clothing. Officials say the center's free services help reduce a lot of the anxiety that affects families. The center has helped more than 2,000 patients in the past 10 years.
There is an organization that can help people to get from their diagnosis and through their treatment and after. That's something that is priceless.
Up next, the California drought is having its effect on animal rescues. We'll tell you what one group is trying to do about it. Plus, our chief meteorologist, Nick Mariziak, will have your full forecast. Don't go away, 13 on your side. We'll be right back. California's ongoing drought is preventing an animal rescue group from saving horses. The decades-old organization doesn't have enough water for their animals, so they're unable to take in any more at this time. Chris Martinez explains.
These horses are getting a second chance. Most of these used to be wild?
Most of these were wild horses, yes.
For nearly 20 years, Lifesavers Wild Horse Rescue has saved hundreds of horses.
We rescue abused horses, slaughter-bound horses, neglected horses.
But California's drought is putting their mission at risk.
My big concern is water.
Joe Hernandez manages the nearly 1,000-acre sanctuary in Caliente, California. He says the drought has dried up its biggest well, leaving them without enough water to care for the horses they have.
We've got about 300 gallons to 400 gallons a day, and that's about it.
And you need how much?
I need at least 1,500 gallons a day.
The water shortage has forced them to send some animals to other organizations and brought new rescues to a halt.
We cannot rescue anymore if we don't have the natural resources to give them.
For now, workers are hauling hundreds of gallons of water to the animals 4 times a day, but that costs money, putting a strain on the organization's limited budget.
When we're cut off from being able to do what we were created to do, it's heartbreaking.
A heartbreak they fear will only worsen as California faces another hot, dry summer. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Caliente, California.
Lifesavers runs their sanctuary entirely on donations. They believe the lack of water has stopped them from rescuing several dozen more horses just this year alone.
Live from across the desert Southwest, this is 13 on Your Side.
Good evening. Already we've seen a little bit more moisture in our area. Of course, the last few weeks have been abnormally dry across the desert Southwest, but we actually saw a little bit of a surge, maybe not a full monsoon surge, but enough that we started to actually pull the driest of air to our north. And along with that, we saw our dew points really rise in Yuma and Mexicali. Not so much for Blythe through the Imperial Valley, at least not yet. We will continue to see an ebb and flow along these lines the next 48 hours, and it's not going to be for a while until we really start breaking our trend of some warm weather and dry weather, and eventually we'll get rid of the dry, but we'll actually keep the warm weather. That's for the start of next week. In the meantime, we're still in 90s at this time at night, which isn't unusual, but we're starting to actually see our winds shift to the south and the east. That's going to help bring in the moisture all across the area and also keep our overnight low temperatures up across the desert Southwest throughout tonight. So again, things are looking much warmer tonight than they have been and will continue through tomorrow. And tomorrow it's going to be a warm one, but not warm enough that you can't go outside and spend 5 minutes to help donate to a worthy cause. That would be the Stuff the Bus event, and that's going from 2 to 8. I'll be outside. I believe Madeline Hunt will join me after the 4 p.m. and Chase Go Lightly as well. So we are all out for a worthy cause, and that's to get donations for school supplies for local kids. After the weekend, it does look like we'll see high pressure try to build in, and what that will do is add to our monsoon surge. So we've seen a little bit to go from dry to at least somewhat humid, and then we're going to see humid to, well, rather really warm and humid, and actually what you think of monsoon season. It won't hit until at least Sunday at the earliest. Then we're starting to look towards Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday. We'll really see that moisture move its way in. But that moisture may not be enough for rain, at least not yet. Remember something, we've been really dry, so the atmosphere isn't exactly moist from top to bottom. It's going to take a while to get all that moisture back. And number two, you need a lot of things to go right for us to see rain in the desert Southwest. Obviously, we know that because we see one of the least rainfalls of the country. That all being said, from Sunday to about Thursday, we're looking at low chances of rain all the days. Under 10% at this point. There's not one day that looks particularly great, nor one day that looks particularly not so great for rain. It just looks like a generalized threat that at any given point we could see just a little bit more moisture than what we will be seeing, and that will be enough to maybe trigger perhaps a thunderstorm. But at this point, again, it's still very far off, and we have a little bit of time until we need to figure out exactly when it will occur. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Live from across the desert Southwest, this is 13 on Your Side.
Welcome back. U.S. Customs and Border Protection held a hiring event today at America's Jobs Center in El Centro. The agency is in need of filling various positions along the border, and applications will be open until October. Imperial Valley reporter Nico Payne explains.
By midday today, U.S. Customs and Border Protection already had 70 new applicants, and that number is expected to grow.
We have presentations going where we have CBP officers and Border Patrol agents talking to applicants about the process, the requirements, and the job itself of what it is to be a CBP officer or a Border Patrol agent.
Being a CBP officer can be a great career path with various opportunities within the agency.
Passing their probationary period within the agency, then at that point, a lot of officers can go ahead and put in for other specialized units, such as a K-9, the Anti-Terrorist Contraband Enforcement Team, and other agencies, other entities within.
Many came out to today's event in search for a more stable career.
I've seen them do their ATV and sandrail testings and stuff. Like, that's always been interesting to me. I love firearms. I was in the Navy, so I was a gunner's mate, and that's all I did is I did guns, and I love that.
One of the cool things about this event is you can come in, talk to recruiters, and apply right on site. Today's event does include a special incentive, and if you missed out today, there will be more hiring events in the near future.
The agency will pay 25% of that officer's base salary, 25% added to the salary, plus also if that applicant that's coming on board should have student loans, the agency is willing to go ahead and pay, contribute 10%.
If you'd like to apply to become a U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent, visit cbp.gov/careers. A softball community is coming together in Somerton to help out one of their own. A benefit softball tournament is being planned for a 25-year-old man who was involved in a head-on collision back on June 22nd. According to his family, Johnny Galavis is fighting for his life after the accident left him severely injured. He's in critical condition at a hospital in Phoenix at this time. The money raised through the softball tournament will go towards his medical expenses.
Baseball is just a way to bring friends together, and you have a good time, and times like this you can support. Our softball tournament is a 6-team double elimination men's slow pitch softball team. We're going to start 6 in the evening and go to 6 in the morning, so it'll be an all-nighter.
July 25th is the deadline to register for the tournament, which will be held at Joe Munoz Park in Somerton. The entry fee's $200 per team. For more information, you can call 928-581-3185. And if you just want to support, but playing isn't your thing, the family says you can always volunteer to help or stop by and buy a food plate for just $6. Coming up next, we'll tell you where you can go to help local children get school supplies. 13 on Your Side. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back. It's almost that time of year again, back to school, and we need your help to stuff the bus. KSWT, all of us here at 13 on your side, along with the Foundation of YRMCs, hosting its annual drive for school supplies this Friday. Our team will be out at the Yuma Palms Mall in front of Harkins Theater collecting the school supplies all afternoon and into the evening. Drop off anything from binders, notebooks, pencils, or even monetary donations will be accepted tomorrow. All the donations will be used to stuff backpacks that will be handed out to local students at the beginning of the school year. So we hope to see you out there. It's for a great cause, so make sure to make the time, and it will be very much appreciated for many local students out there. Thanks for watching 13 on your side tonight. For all of us here, I'm Nylander. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Stay tuned for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.